We have a couple.
Hello, everyone. Happy afternoon. I hope you enjoyed some of our earlier sessions today as part of New England First University Day. My name is Kim Pita, and I am the Interim Executive Director of New England First. And I'm so excited to be presenting this Overcoming Stress and Anxiety session to you today. So what you can expect from this session is I'm going to share a little bit about me, who I am, what my history with mental health is. We're going to do a little check-in with you. We're going to talk about mindfulness and why it's important in our lives. We're going to do a drawing exercise. So if you have come to this session without a piece of paper or something to draw with, you can use crayons, you can use markers, you can use pencils, but we're going to do a drawing exercise. So it's important that each one of you grabs something to draw with and a piece of paper. And we're going to be doing that in just a little bit. And then I'm going to be sharing with you a free mental health assessment tool that everyone should be aware of, and hopefully every one of you watching today takes an opportunity to go out and take that assessment. But first, I'm going to show you something. It's a short video produced by Mental Health America, the same place where you can get the assessment tool, just to give you a snapshot of what we're thinking relative to mental health.
Our brains control how we act in the world. But did you know the world around us also affects our brains? Our genes, environment, and social interactions all work together to shape the way our brains develop. Sometimes these factors combine in ways that create unhealthy thoughts or feelings. Over time, these unhealthy thoughts and feelings become so unmanageable that we need outside support to get better. 50% of people will develop at least one mental health condition during their lifetime, and half of those people will develop a mental health condition by age 14. Unfortunately, it takes about 10 years for people to get the treatment they need. We don't wait to treat health problems like heart disease or cancer until stage 4. We shouldn't wait to take care of our mental health. The right early treatment can change lives, reducing school dropout rates, hospitalization, incarceration, and unemployment. Imagine what the world would look like if we all got the help we needed when we first started showing the early warning signs. Start the conversation before stage 4. Visit mentalhealthamerica.net to get informed, take an online screening, and better understand your own mental health.
So I hope you all took away a little something from that video from Mental Health America. You know, mental health is as important as physical health. And so I want to share with you a story about myself. My sister, Kelly, was diagnosed with bipolar disorder back in the 1980s. And unfortunately, she was in a really bad car accident in high school, her senior year, and she developed PTSD. And for those that don't know, that's post-traumatic stress disorder. And so she became very paranoid about things. Getting in the car scared her. She was dealing with anxiety all the time. And then shortly after she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And we lived as a family with her bipolar disorder for several decades. And my sister ended up dying of a drug overdose 9 years ago in Arizona. And it really rocked our family and shocked our family and kind of really hit me to the core. And I needed to do something in her honor. And at that point, I was so deathly afraid of mental health because I didn't really understand it. And I was scared that I was going to be diagnosed with bipolar disorder, even though we didn't even really understand what it was and how it could really overtake our minds. And so after she passed away, I knew I needed to do something. I needed to give voice to the voiceless. And so I became actively involved with Mental Health Connecticut, and that's an organization that provides recovery services for people across Connecticut who have been diagnosed with a mental illness, sometimes the worst cases, the most difficult cases. And then I also became involved with Copper Beech Institute, which is a mindfulness community. It's a mindfulness center based in West Hartford. And I began to learn about mindfulness. I began to see how mindfulness could really directly affect our mental health and how important it was to really becoming present and checking in with yourself. So I want to take a moment for each one of us to check in with yourself. And I know sometimes it can be awkward, but we're just going to do a really, really quick breathing exercise. And so I want you to kind of get yourself stable in your chair, wherever you're sitting. I want you to put your feet flat on the floor and, get yourself in a comfortable position. And I want you to inhale for 5 seconds. And then I want you to hold it for 5 seconds. And then I want you to release it for 5 seconds. And I want you to do that for several times. And so I'll do it with you. And this is an exercise that really can help ground you in your present moment. And so if you're feeling unsettled, if you're feeling anxious, if your mind is somewhere else, but you really want to be here and be focused, this is something that's going to really kind of clear that energy and help you to really come back to the present. So here we go. We're going to go in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do that again. In. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let it go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I want you to keep doing that on your own 2 more times. Really get in with yourself, get centered. And breathing is so important, especially when it comes to kind of centering ourselves. And I've learned this so much over the last few years. And again, I never really understood mental health until I began to study it, and I never understood mindfulness until I began to study it. And mindfulness is really the awareness that arises through paying attention to you, to your surroundings, paying attention on purpose in the present moment, today, non-judgmentally. Don't feel like, oh my God, I don't look good today. My hair doesn't look good. I have so much to do. Take that judgment away, wipe that away. Non-judgmentally, in the service of self-understanding and wisdom. So really, this mindfulness is all about getting to know you and centering yourself so that you can do great things in this world, so that you can be productive. This is a definition that was written by John Kabat-Zinn. He is actually the founder of mindfulness-based stress reduction, which is a practice, and many people can learn the techniques of this, and I plan to as well this year. So mindfulness, in essence, is being present, being in the moment and enjoying what you're doing in that moment. And the fulfillment that you can get out of that is profound. So mindfulness really helps managing stress, anxiety, and depression. And I don't know about you, but what we're going through today and over these last, I don't even know how many months, 6 months since March, since COVID hit, has been mind blowing. My anxiety escalates some weeks off the shelf to where it debilitates me, sometimes brings me to tears. But then I remember to come back to mindfulness and come back to center and then practice other things like exercise. So mindfulness is so important, and more than ever, each one of us needs to really get connected to it. It helps us with our concentration and our focus. So if you find that, when you're trying to do your schoolwork or when you're in a Zoom meeting or, whatever's going on now, because life is so different post-COVID, getting yourself centered and grounded before jumping into your classroom or jumping into your your Zoom room, can really help you get through that next class, that next meeting. It brings peace and calm into your life. And who doesn't want peace and calm in their life? It's being present, as I said. It controls that negative self-talk. The things that make us just not like ourselves. It helps us get rid of that. It helps us to appreciate who we are and what we are about and what we can do and the great things and great gifts that we can bring to this world, which ultimately helps us with productivity. And it allows you to enjoy your relationships more. It helps you to, if you take care of yourself, it will help you to take care of others. Mindfulness is focusing on your breathing. So as we just did, there's lots of other kinds of breathing exercises you can do. There's self-check mindfulness where you're breathing and thinking about how you're feeling through each body part. Mindfulness is also using positive imagery. So one of the things we're going to do today is we're going to make a drawing together. Mindfulness is sitting still in the moment, and really kind of taking charge of yourself and where you are. It's eliminating distractions, and that means screens. That means turning off your phone. That means shutting down your iPad. That means powering down your laptop. That means getting rid of every screen that has invaded our lives over these last few decades. So really kind of powering those down for a little while because we all get so distracted with them. I know I am. I look at screen time each week to see, where I am. I think it's important for us to check in on that, check in on your screen time. And if you start to really see yourself go off the charts, start to eliminate some time. Mindfulness is living in the moment. And mindfulness is ultimately about accepting you for who you are. So I want to do a drawing exercise. I'm looking at the clock here. It's about 1:14. So I want you to take your piece of paper, and I'm using crayons, and I want you to take your, if you have an 8.5 by 11, and I want you to draw a rectangle in the center of your paper. So similar to this. So as you can see, it kind of serves as a frame. And then once you do that, I want you to take a different color or, if you're using a pen and a pencil, and just start drawing circles and shapes in the outer box. So similar to something like that. And start to create a pattern. You can use squares, circles, little circles, big circles. You can have circles coming off the edge. You can have squiggly lines if you want. Really, whatever shape you feel works well for you. And I don't know about you, but I love coloring. Coloring is really a good way to get yourself present, to bring yourself into the moment. Let's see what I'm doing here. It's a good way for you to use your creativity, coloring and drawing, and I actually have a little mini coloring book. It's calming coloring book, I think it's called, and so you can color in your shapes. You can make marks around your shapes. So color in your shapes. So you start to create a little frame, something that you enjoy looking at. But I have this little this little mini calm coloring book with this little mini set of pencils. So keep working on your frame as I'm talking. And I have this coloring book, and so when I fly, I get really nervous, and not nervous because I'm worried about flying, but more that I don't like to be in the small cramped spaces, just having people that close by. And then, you got people who are like, pushing their seat in front of you. And there's just so many annoyances that it drives me sometimes a little batty on airplanes. So I bring my mini coloring book with me and my little mini set of pencils with me in my bag so that I can just take away what's going on around me and be present with myself and use that as a mechanism to really calm my nerves when I fly. And it takes that anxiety level from way up here to way down here. And so I can't emphasize enough how important it is. Okay, so now you have your frame, and inside your frame, I want you to think about the word peace. Peace. And I want you to think about what is the place that brings you the most peace. It could be, it could be somewhere in your room. It could be, somewhere outside. It could be, where do you find peace? And I want you to begin to draw that peaceful place. And I want you can even close your eyes as you want to think about what brings you peace. Is it the waves of an ocean hitting the sand? Is it the bristling of a tree in a forest? Is it driving through the mountains in Colorado? What is that place for you where you find the most peace? And I want you to draw that. And so I'm going to give you a few minutes to draw, and I want you to do as best as you can, and really take time to do this, because it's really important. And I know it seems silly that we're kind of we're all older now, and why are we using crayons? But crayons give me like a ton of joy. I don't know about you, but the fact that you can pick up all these colors and you can make so many different things with crayons. And so for me, I live at the beach now, here in Old Saybrook, Connecticut, and I'm about a quarter mile from the beach. And the beach for me has always been my peaceful place, and water. I'm not a big swimmer. I'm not a big boater, but I just love being near the water. The sound of water, the smell of being by the beach, for me has always been something I've loved since I was a little girl. I would come down and visit my grandmother, who always rented a house at the beach. She would live part of the year in Florida and part of the year down at the beach, and we would go down and visit her. And so it was always a big part of me, to be able to, just take advantage of what Connecticut has. So take a few minutes, work on your drawing. Again, what is it that brings you peace? And I'm going to work on mine here. I've got my blue waves, and then of course the sun. And oh my goodness, I know today is an absolutely most beautiful day in New England. It is like the perfect New England fall day, and we're so lucky to live where we do, where we get this slice of weather all the time. And so I'm making waves here, and then I'm gonna do some sand. So hopefully you guys are all, and then of course the birds are so important to, being at that at the beach and just feeling that. So I'm not exactly the best artist, but for me, that's a place that really brings me peace. And as you're doing your drawings, I really want you to look at them and think about all of those elements. What does it sound like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? Salty air, the smell of the water, of the seas. And when you're in a really difficult time, I want you to think about that picture that you drew with me today. And I want you to think about the joy that it brought you. I want you to close your eyes and picture yourself in that place. And that will help to bring you to that present moment. And I think that's what's so important, is that there are strategies and ways of coping through anxiety and stress that are really quite simple. This drawing exercise, it took us just a few minutes. You could do a drawing exercise every day. It could be something that you wake up to. And so there's just a lot of ways and a lot of strategies to get you through some of these really difficult times that we're all living through. One of the things so hopefully you all have your drawings. And if you would like, feel free to post your drawings on the New England First Instagram channel. If you tag us, I will look for those drawings, and I can repost them on Facebook if you'd like. And if you want to share, you don't necessarily have to share. But what I also want to share with you today is a little bit about Mental Health America and the free screening tools that they offer. And it's really important to know, why am I feeling this way? Are others feeling this way? Am I alone? Are there other people that can help me through this? And there's screening tools that are available through Mental Health America. Right here, screening.mhanational.org/screening tools. Click onto that. Take a test. There's mental health tests to look at depression, postpartum depression, anxiety, bipolar, eating disorders. There's tests for parents. There's tests for youth, even addiction and PTSD. There's also tests in Spanish and tests in English. And this one is such a helpful resource tool for all of us, to really kind of get an idea of, is this anxiety or is this something else? Do I need to worry about something else? So it's really important to look at those resources. So I'm just going to go back to the drawing exercise, and I'm hoping all of you had a chance to share the exercise, and we'll be able to share some of it with us. And I think you can see my screen through here, and along with drawing, there's so many other ways for us to really work on our mental health. One of the things that we've done with New England First is brought in the quiet rooms, because we know that sometimes it can get a little crazy, the sounds and the sights and the people. And so it was really important to us and many members in our community to figure out a way to give people a space to just chill out and kind of disconnect from all of that. And that's why quiet rooms are so important. We don't know what's going to happen with this year's season. As many of you know, we'll still have to evaluate if we can go beyond the remote activities into some hybrid live and in-person events. But if we in the future, we will definitely make sure we have those quiet rooms for all of you as we start to congregate more. And the other thing too is other ways to really, reduce that stress and anxiety. Yoga, practicing some sort of yoga or some sort of exercise. Whether it's riding your bike or going for a walk. I'm on the walk team it's the team for Mental Health Connecticut, where I serve as chair of the board. And this weekend we're going to be, my boyfriend and I will be doing a 5K charity walk. It's going to be virtual. So it's on the honor system, but we'll be walking 5K tomorrow, and to raise funds through the Eversource Marathon, to raise funds for Mental Health Connecticut. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting out. I think there's going to be some rain, so I think we're going to have to do it earlier in the morning. We'll have to check on that schedule. But just getting out in the air, going for a walk, getting a blanket and going to a park and sitting outside. I know that this is, can be a really difficult time for all of us right now. And we just have to learn coping strategies to really get us through. And sometimes it's, being alone. Sometimes it's connecting with friends. Sometimes it's having a good cry. Sometimes it's falling asleep. Sometimes it's drawing. Sometimes it's putting your headphones on and just getting lost in your music. There's so many ways to reduce your stress and anxiety. And I'm so glad you're able to join me for this today. And if there's any